I was in the restaurant kitchen, absorbed in the frenetic routine of the day, when something unusual caught my attention. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a small, almost imperceptible figure sneaking in through the window. As I approached, I saw that it was a boy, looking about 10 years old, with dirty and torn clothes and a face marked by hunger and tiredness. His big, sad eyes seemed to be begging for help, and I felt my heart sink. Intrigued and worried, I dropped what I was doing and went to the back door. The sight of the boy caused me a mixture of pity and urgency. He was motionless, as if he didn't have the strength to move, or as if he feared being chased away. I walked towards him carefully, trying not to scare him. "Hey, how's it going?" I asked softly. He looked up with an expression of surprise and suspicion. I realized the words wouldn't come easily, so I knelt down to his level. "You are hungry?" I asked, trying to convey a little reassurance with my tone of voice. He hesitated for a moment, looking around as if searching for an escape route, but finally nodded, almost imperceptibly. I decided to act quickly before he changed his mind. "Wait here, I'll get you something to eat," I said, getting up and going back to the kitchen. I picked up a plate of food, trying to choose something that looked appetizing and nutritious. As I prepared the dish, my coworkers looked at me curiously but didn't ask any questions. I went back to where the boy was, holding the plate carefully. "Here it is," I said, holding it out to him. He looked at the plate with wide eyes, as if he couldn't believe it was for him. With a timid gesture, he picked up the plate and began eating voraciously, almost as if he feared the food would disappear. I stood there, watching him in silence. With each bite, he seemed to relax a little more, as if the weight of the world was being lifted. We knew nothing about each other, but in that moment, we were just two souls connected by a simple gesture of kindness. When he finished, his eyes finally met mine, and for a brief moment, I saw a glimmer of hope. As the boy devoured the food, I decided to try a gentler approach. "What is your name?" I asked, trying to sound as welcoming as possible. He looked up for a brief moment, hesitantly, before responding in a barely audible voice. "My name is Michael." The simplicity of his answer carried enormous weight, and I realized there was much more behind those sad eyes. "Nice to meet you, Michael," I replied, trying to make a connection. He continued eating in silence, but seemed a little more at ease. I took this as a good sign and continued talking. "Do you live here?" I asked, trying to find out more about his situation. Michael stopped chewing for a moment, as if deciding whether he could trust me. "I ran away from home," he muttered, and his eyes returned to his plate. "My stepfather, he's not a good man." The tone of his voice was one of fear and sadness, and the words barely left his mouth. My heart sank upon hearing this, and a wave of empathy and compassion washed over me. The story he began to tell was of a cruelty that I could barely imagine. "Did he hurt you?" I asked softly, dreading the answer but wanting Michael to know I was there to listen. He nodded, without looking up. "Yes," he replied simply, and the silence that followed was heavy and painful. Every word he said felt like a monumental effort, a small release from an immense burden he carried. "Michael, I'm sorry about this," I said sincerely, trying to convey as much support as possible through my words. "You don't deserve to go through this. You were right to seek help." He finally looked up to look at me, and I saw a flash of recognition and gratitude. It wasn't much, but it was a start, a step toward confidence. As he finished his meal, I continued to sit by his side, offering my presence and silent support. Michael's story was a heartbreaking reminder of the difficulties many children face, and at that moment, I decided I would do whatever I could to help him. He deserved better than a life of suffering and fear, and I was determined to make a difference. Determined to help Michael as best I could, I began thinking about how I could provide some immediate reassurance and comfort. "Do you want to get some rest?" I asked, pointing to the back door of the restaurant. He looked at me suspiciously, but the need for a safe haven seemed to overcome his hesitation. With a nod, he accepted my offer. I took Michael to the restaurant's pantry, a small but welcoming place where he could feel protected. I improvised a small corner with some blankets and a pillow, creating a space where he could rest. "Here, you can stay for now," he said, trying to convey reassurance. He lay down slowly, still cautious, but visibly relieved to have a safe place. While Michael was resting, I started contacting some friends and colleagues, explaining the situation and asking for help. Everyone was willing to collaborate, understanding the urgency and seriousness of the situation. We discussed several options, from contacting social services to looking for shelters that could provide adequate support for Michael. Each step felt like an advance toward a more stable solution. For the next few days, Michael stayed with us in the restaurant. He was still reserved, but he slowly started to trust us more. We provided meals, a safe place to sleep, and most importantly, a friendly presence that showed him he was no longer alone. It was a slow process, but every small advance was significant. Seeing him relax and even smile was a sign that we were on the right path. My friends and I worked tirelessly to find a permanent solution. We were able to locate a local organization that offered support to children in vulnerable situations. They had foster programs and could provide a temporary home where Michael would receive adequate care and psychological support. The decision to involve them was made carefully, always with Michael's best interests in mind. Finally, the day came to take Michael to his new home. It was an emotional and a little sad moment, but I knew it was the best for him. "Michael, you're going to be okay," I told him as we prepared for the move. He looked at me with mixed emotions, but there was a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "Thank you for everything," he said, his voice carrying the sincerity and gratitude of a boy finally finding a chance to start over. 15 years have passed since the day Michael came into my life. The restaurant had become my second home, and I now worked as a manager, responsible for the entire operation. Everyday life was filled with a familiar routine, with regular customers and new faces, but that day that seemed ordinary was about to turn into something extraordinary. I was checking stock in the kitchen when the phone rang. I answered distractedly, hoping it was another supplier or a last-minute reservation. "La Bonne Cuisine Restaurant, good afternoon," I replied, maintaining the usual formality. On the other end of the line, a familiar but mature voice replied, "Hello, my name is Michael Johnson." My heart stopped for a moment. Was it him? My mind traveled back to that time, to the vivid memories of a hungry, scared boy I met in the restaurant window. The silence that followed was full of expectation. "Michael?" I asked, my voice shaking slightly. "Michael Johnson?" The answer came with a hint of a smile. "Yes, it's me." I was speechless for a few moments, trying to process the flood of emotions that hit me. "My God, Michael, how are you? What happened in those years?" I asked, almost out of breath. He laughed softly on the other end of the line, a sound that seemed to carry years of stories and experiences. "I'm fine," he replied. "Actually, more than fine. I really wanted to see you and tell you everything in person." We arranged to meet at the restaurant for later that day. I spent the rest of the hours in a state of nervous anticipation, barely able to focus on daily tasks. The minutes seemed to drag by as I waited for that reunion. And then, finally, the moment arrived. The restaurant door opened, and there he was. Michael, now a grown man, with a confident posture and a warm smile. I quickly stood up and walked towards him, feeling a mixture of joy and disbelief. "Michael," I called, opening my arms. He hugged me tightly, a hug that seemed to end all the years of distance and uncertainty. "It's so good to see you," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. We sat together at one of the tables, and he began to tell his story. Every word, every detail, was a testament to her resilience and strength. Michael's journey was full of challenges, but also incredible achievements. And there, in that restaurant where it all began, our reunion was a celebration of hope and the importance of small acts of kindness. As we settled in at the table, Michael began to share his story, and I couldn't believe my ears. "After being welcomed into the organization, my life completely changed," he began. "I went to school, finished my studies, and eventually got a scholarship to college. I studied business and, inspired by what I saw here at the restaurant, I decided to go into the food business." Michael explained that over the years he has worked hard to build his career. "I started small, with a food truck," he said, smiling as he remembers the humble beginnings. "But with dedication and some good opportunities, I managed to open my first restaurant. Today, I own a restaurant franchise with several units spread across the city." The revelation left me speechless. I was impressed by Michael's success and determination. "That's incredible, Michael," I said, still absorbing the magnitude of his achievement. But he wasn't finished. He looked straight into my eyes and, with a serious expression, continued, "I recently learned that you were unfairly fired from your job. That's not fair, and I want to do something about it." My surprise increased. "How did you know that?" I asked, amazed. Michael smiled slightly. "I've been keeping an eye on you over the years without you knowing," he confessed. "I wanted to make sure you were okay. When I heard what happened, I felt it was time to repay the help you gave me." He paused, taking a deep breath before continuing. "I want you to come work with me," he said, a firm determination in his voice. "I need someone I trust to manage one of my units. You have experience, and I know you're the right person for the job." Michael's words took me by surprise. Such a generous and unexpected offer filled me with gratitude and emotion. "Michael, I don't know what to say," I replied, feeling my eyes fill with tears. "You do not have to do this." He smiled, holding my hand. "Yes, I do," he stated. "I've never forgotten what you did for me that night. Now it's my turn to help you. Let's do this together." In that moment, I realized that the bonds of kindness and generosity that had brought us together years ago had created a cycle of mutual support that now connected us even more deeply. Michael continued to speak, and his offer became even clearer. "I want you to be the manager of one of my new restaurants," he said, his eyes shining with determination and affection. "You gave me a chance when no one else did. That gesture changed my life, and now it's my turn to give back." His words resonated deeply with me, bringing back memories of that day when a hungry boy appeared at the restaurant window. The generosity and gratitude he showed was truly moving. I felt a mixture of surprise, relief, and immense joy upon realizing that our paths were intertwining again in such a significant way. "Michael, I don't know what to say," I replied, my voice cracking with emotion. "It means a lot to me. I accept the offer with all my heart." He smiled widely, and at that moment, all the effort and sacrifice I made to help that boy was worth it. It was as if a complete cycle had closed, and now, a new journey opened before us. The days that followed were filled with preparations and plans. Michael introduced me to the team and other managers, and everyone welcomed me with open arms. He made a point of showing me every detail of the new restaurant, sharing his vision and dreams for the future. Working alongside him was inspiring, and every day I felt like we were building something special together. Beyond work, Michael and I have developed a deep and sincere friendship. He told me more about his life, his struggles and his victories, and I shared my own experiences and challenges. It was a rich and meaningful exchange, which brought us even closer and reinforced the bond of trust that we had established so many years ago. On the opening day of the new restaurant, I looked around and saw the fruits of our combined efforts. The atmosphere was full of energy and enthusiasm, and customers were beginning to come in, curious and excited. Michael and I exchanged a look of complicity and satisfaction. "We did it," he said, shaking my hand. "And that's just the beginning." I smiled, feeling a surge of gratitude and hope. "Yes, it's just the beginning," I replied, full of confidence in the future. Life had given us a second chance, and we were determined to make the best of it. Together, we were going to transform that opportunity into something great, with the certainty that mutual support and kindness would always prevail. Upon arriving at the new restaurant, I was warmly greeted by Michael, who now presented himself as a successful businessman. He was impeccably dressed, his posture was confident, and his smile conveyed contagious energy. "Welcome to our new space," he said, opening the door and ushering me inside. The first impression was stunning. The restaurant was modern, with elegant and cozy decor. The tables were arranged to create a welcoming atmosphere, and the soft lighting highlighted the sophisticated details of the design. "Our mission is to provide a unique and memorable experience for each customer," explained Michael as we walked through the main hall. "We want everyone to feel special here." He enthusiastically showed me every detail, from the kitchen equipped with the most modern appliances to the carefully decorated bar. "We're ready to open the doors in style," he said, eyes shining with pride. His vision was clear and well-defined. and the dedication he had for every aspect of the business was evident. I felt inspired by their passion and commitment. As we toured the restaurant, Michael shared his plans for the franchise. "I want to expand to other cities, bring our brand and our philosophy to more people," he said. "And you will be a fundamental part of this growth. Your experience and talent are exactly what we need." His words filled me with pride and responsibility, reinforcing my desire to contribute to the success of this venture. After finishing the restaurant tour, we sat down at one of the tables to discuss the details of my new role. Michael was a born leader. He knew how to listen and value the opinions of others. "Let's work together to create something incredible," he said. "I trust you to bring your ideas and knowledge to the team." His confidence in me was evident and motivated me even more to do my best. As we talked, I noticed how Michael had grown and changed since the last time I saw him. He was no longer the scared boy I had met in the restaurant window, but a confident and determined man. His journey of overcoming and success was inspiring, and I was grateful to be part of this new phase of his life. By the end of our conversation, I felt like I was starting a new chapter, not just in my career, but in my life. The opportunity to work with Michael and be part of his vision was exciting. "I'm excited to see what the future holds," I said, with a smile. "Let's make this place something really special." Michael smiled back, and I knew that together, we would achieve great things. Working with Michael was an incredible experience from day one. He demonstrated unwavering confidence in my abilities to manage the restaurant, which gave me a renewed sense of purpose and responsibility. Every day at work was a new opportunity to learn, grow, and contribute to realizing Michael's vision for the restaurant. Michael was always open to new ideas and encouraged creativity. "I want this place to reflect not just my vision, but yours as well," he often said. His words were a constant reminder that we were partners in this endeavor. This collaborative approach turned each challenge into an opportunity for innovation and improvement. Together, we began implementing several changes that quickly took the restaurant to a new level. We introduced a seasonal menu with fresh ingredients and dishes that reflected the most current gastronomic trends. We redesigned the restaurant's layout to create an even more welcoming and modern atmosphere, attracting a diverse and loyal clientele. Each decision was made together, always with the aim of offering the best possible experience to our customers. Michael's dedication to the business was inspiring. He worked tirelessly alongside me, always willing to listen and contribute his ideas. "Our goal is to make this place a reference point in the city," he stated with conviction. And that's exactly what we did. Little by little, the restaurant became a must-visit destination, known for the exceptional quality of its food and its welcoming, sophisticated atmosphere. Evenings at the restaurant were always lively, with a mix of regular customers and new visitors who arrived attracted by our reputation. Reservations began to be made weeks in advance, and the positive feedback motivated us to continue improving. Michael and I often talked about the future, discussing new strategies and possible expansions. The partnership we formed was solid and based on mutual respect and trust. Seeing the restaurant flourish was extremely rewarding. Every compliment from customers, every constructive criticism that led to improvements, was a reminder of how far we had come. Michael never failed to recognize my efforts. "None of this would be possible without you," he often said, which reinforced how valuable our partnership was. The journey of transforming the restaurant into a landmark in the city was marked by hard work, dedication, and a shared vision. Each achievement was celebrated with enthusiasm, and each challenge overcome only strengthened our determination to continue growing. Working alongside Michael, seeing his transformation and contributing to the success of something so special was, without a doubt, one of the most enriching experiences of my life. As time passed, the restaurant prospered in a way that exceeded all of our expectations. It became the most popular of the franchise, a true landmark in the city. The place was always full, and customer satisfaction was evident in each positive review and the smiling faces that frequented the restaurant regularly. Michael and I celebrated each milestone with enthusiasm. Our work partnership naturally evolved into a deep and sincere friendship. We spent hours discussing business strategies, but we also had fun with stories from the past and plans for the future. The trust and mutual respect we shared were the basis of everything we built together. Whenever I looked at Michael, I couldn't help but remember the starving boy I helped years ago. The transformation he underwent was inspiring. The scared boy who peered through the restaurant window had become a successful and confident man, capable of turning his own difficulties into a driving force for success. It was a constant reminder of how small acts of kindness can have profound and lasting impacts. Our friendship transcended business. Michael became someone I could count on in every situation, and I knew he felt the same way about me. We shared personal and professional challenges, supporting each other at every stage. The partnership we formed was not just about profit and business growth, but about building something meaningful together. The restaurant's popularity brought new opportunities. We were invited to gastronomic events, interviews in magazines, and even appearances on local TV shows. Each public appearance reinforced our restaurant's reputation as a place of culinary excellence and impeccable service. With each new achievement, we felt that we were honoring the journey that brought us there. Michael often reflected on how it all began. "Remember that night you gave me a plate of food?" he asked, with a nostalgic smile. "Who knew it would take us this far?" I smiled back, feeling deep gratitude for being part of his journey. "It was just the beginning," I replied, aware that our story still had many chapters to go. Seeing the restaurant's growth and Michael's evolution has been an incredibly rewarding experience. Each day brought new challenges and opportunities, but the certainty that we were building something together, based on trust and friendship, made everything even more special. We were ready to face the future, knowing that any obstacle could be overcome with the strength of our partnership. One day, Michael called me to a special meeting at the restaurant, outside of opening hours. He was visibly moved, and I felt like something important was coming. "I need to talk to you about something," he said, with a gleam in his eyes that denoted the depth of the moment. We sat at one of the tables, and he began to speak with a sincerity that touched my heart. "I wanted to formally thank you for everything you've done for me and the success of the restaurant," Michael began, his voice thick with emotion. He paused, trying to control the tears that threatened to fall. "You changed my life when I needed it most. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have been able to achieve all of this." The sincerity in his words was palpable, and I felt my own eyes filling with tears. "Michael, it's been a privilege to watch you grow and achieve all this," I replied, my voice breaking. "Your determination and resilience are inspiring. I just did what anyone would do." Michael shook his head, his eyes fixed on mine. "No, you did so much more than that. You gave me a chance when no one else did. You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. And now, together, we are changing other people's lives." His words resonated deeply, highlighting the impact of our work and our partnership. He got up and walked to a drawer, where he took out a small box. "I want to give this to you as a token of my gratitude," he said, handing me the box. I opened it carefully, revealing a beautiful bracelet with a heart-shaped pendant. "The heart represents the love and kindness you have shown. May it always remind you of the impact you have had on my life." The tears finally ran down my face, and I hugged Michael tightly. "Thank you, Michael. This means more than words can express," I whispered. "I'm so grateful that fate has brought us together again. Together, we can continue to make a difference." We felt a deep sense of accomplishment and gratitude as we hugged each other. The journey that began with a simple act of kindness had led us to a place of success and lasting friendship. We knew there was still much to come, but we were ready to face the future, knowing that our bond and our work together would continue to transform lives. That night marked a new chapter in our history. With gratitude in our hearts and the knowledge that we were on the right path, Michael and I were determined to continue making a difference, one plate of food and one act of kindness at a time.